Hey out there, thanks for tuning in. So I was on the treadmill a little while ago because I put on a little bit of weight. Matter of fact, no one even sent a comment. I thought they would because I watched some of the videos. Someone could have easily said, hey Harry, you have beefed up, my friend. Anyway, I was on the treadmill and you gotta put the mask on. Why do you gotta put the mask on? It's like no one in there. Why do I have to put the mask on? So the mask falls down below sometimes and one of the employees comes over and, oh, you gotta put that back up. Come on. Anyway, while I'm on the treadmill, I'm thinking of a friend of mine, George. Haven't spoken to him in a few weeks. Hey George, Happy New Year. How's it going? George sent me back a little video about pulling the trigger on a piece of property. George and I had spoken last year about it. I say last year like it was so long ago. It was probably 2 weeks ago. George is in the process, or was thinking about getting into buying this house. That's, I think the correct term is in probate. An executor's handling it. The owner had died. So George was thinking about putting an offer in. Well, George put an offer in. He pulled the trigger. The reason why I'm giving you so many props, George, is because everyone can do this, but only a few will. And I know that you've had your hands in other types of real estate investing, but I think actually purchasing a property as either a flip or to hold is something that's either new to you or newer to you, that you did it a long time ago. I forget the exact details. However, my hat's off to you for pulling that trigger and putting that offer in. Good for you. I have a couple little suggestions I'm going to make, and again, I'm not a know-it-all, but I want to see if I can give you any suggestions that might help you out. Before I give those suggestions, I just want to talk to you a little bit about Atlantic City, because I talked about it yesterday and I showed you a little bit of a jackpot that we hit. So I want to tell you, is Atlantic City the same as real estate investing? No. I like going down to Atlantic City, eating good food, gambling, stuff like that. However, I'm under no delusion that I'm going to build the wealth from going to Atlantic City. If I ever get on here and I tell you that that's the path to wealth, gambling in a casino, make sure you send a comment or come visit me at my house. However, I was thinking about how is it similar, or where's my mindset? And I want to make sure, I told you guys, I go down there and I play video poker, and I like to feel as smart as possible when I'm doing something, whether it's playing video poker or investing in real estate. So I do as much research and learning and practices as I can, and then pull the trigger. So with video poker, I must have read 5 books on video poker. Then I watched some videos. Then I got a program, a software program, to practice how to play perfectly. Does it make it like I'm gonna win every time? Heck no. However, I get to play longer, I feel smarter, and the chances of winning are greater. So there's the similarities to real estate investing. I did all the research. I read all the books. I got all the cassettes back in the 90s. And then I practiced, going out into properties, looking at different houses, getting familiar with the market, things like that, contacting realtors, making those phone calls, because like I said last year, making those phone calls can be difficult in the beginning. But once you overcome that fear, you'll be in a lot better position. So I told you I was on the treadmill. One of the reasons why also that I'm motivated to go there is because I got a new Fitbit. Diane got it for me for Christmas. I think I might have told you guys. Possibly the best Christmas present I ever received. It's motivating me to get out there and exercise. I got an urban badge last night, like 10 o'clock. Like, hey, congratulations, you hit 15,000 steps. I was like, badges? I told Diane, I'm all excited. I don't think she showed the proper amount of enthusiasm. But anyway, all right, so let me get back to George. So George sent me the video, which, thank you, George, and asked me, I guess, a little bit about different ways to go into a real estate transaction. Either you're using an LLC or an S Corp. I'm not versed in all the pros and cons of the different ways in order to go in. For me personally, I always go in with an LLC. I have 2 different LLCs. I try to keep my rentals under the umbrella of one. However, I have heard from some people that creating a new LLC for each property actually even gives you more protection. Another reason why I like LLCs is because they're easy to form and they're inexpensive. You can actually form one in an hour or 2 so that it's right there. I don't know if you could do that with an S Corp. So my recommendation is possibly to talk to a lawyer that you know that's friendly, or a lender. That's going to get me into the next one. George, I know you said you're going to go into this with cash, and I'm not in a position where I would want to go in with cash, and I'm really not in a position to be able to do so anyway. I would just, all my cash would be gone, and then I would be tight if I go out to buy another piece of property. So because you're in that position, good for you. But I am going to say this, if you want to just think about this, if you're in that position where you can go in with all cash, maybe this is a good time for you to get a small loan from like a hard money lender, credit union, or a bank. Let's say you go in and you want to minimize your costs, because there's costs involved with getting hard money loans and other loans, and you just take a small one out in order to establish a relationship with that lender. So if you put all cash into this one, you won't be able to establish that. So that's just a suggestion. And again, people could do it however they want, but I guess that would be a suggestion that I would make to somebody that doesn't have a relationship with a bank or a hard money lender and doesn't need to use one right now. What's the harm? What's the harm in using one? I've made some videos on the protectionary mechanisms that are put in place from using a lender. Protectionary mechanism sounds pretty good. Protectionary mechanisms put in place from a lender that you don't even realize that are there. It's almost like they're a partner. Don't get me wrong, they're charging you to be a partner, but they have some things in place where they're not going to lend unless certain things line up. So if you're not really that familiar with going in and buying a piece of property, it might be worth the extra dollars to have a lender behind the scenes, telling you about, like this property might not be good for this reason, or there's title work here, or you know what I mean. Anyway, if you want more information on that, I have some referrals for you. Let me tell you about a possible strategy or tactic that I've spoken about. I don't know if I spoke about it on a video, but I know I might have talked to you, George, about it. I'm not sure. Some people I've spoken to about this, and I've never really done this, but it might be in your best interest. Here's a possible strategy or tactic. George is buying a piece of property that, again, I think is in probate and is being handled from an executor. Well, an executor, I think most executors are going to go out and they're going to get a realtor to give them a comparison of value for other properties in the area. And I'm not saying anything negative about realtors, but their motive is to get the listing. So let's say a house is worth $300,000. You can manipulate the comps however you want. So when you go to meet with a seller, you could say, you know what, we could put it on the market for $325,000. I'm not saying all realtors are like that, but there's a good chance that the executor has a realtor in their ear saying that the property is worth more than what it actually is. So you got an executor that has a realtor in their ear saying that the property is worth more than what it is, and then you come in with a lower offer, and sometimes you can offend the executor. So what I'm saying is, here's a strategy or a tactic, like I said, I've never used before, but I'd be willing to use. What if there was a second offer put in place? Let's say I put an offer in. George has already put an offer in on the house. The executor has George's offer and also the realtor in his ear. So I don't know the exact numbers, but let's just say, for an example, the realtor saying the house is worth $300,000 and George put an offer in for $225,000. The executor's like, whoa, that's a lot lower than what the realtor said. Well, you could try to talk that executor into, reality, but it's kind of difficult. Well, how about if another offer comes in, let's say from me, a hard money loan, and it's at $200,000. Well, now that offer of $225,000 from George might look a little more attractive. If anything, it might be a reality check for the executor to say, maybe the realtor is a little off. Either way, whether it's me or somebody else, it's just a tactic that I throw out there sometimes to say, let's strengthen your initial offer. The reason why I get so excited when I hear somebody pulling the trigger is because once you pull the trigger, if you're like me or like other investors that I know, there's no stopping you after that. So, here's the worst case scenario. for you, my friend, George. It doesn't go through. Stinks because I know you have your heart set on this house. You really want it. You're already familiar with it. You did your research and stuff like that. But if it doesn't go through, that's the worst case scenario. So what? Then what? What's going to happen then? You know what's going to happen then? You're going to get that itch. And you're going to want to go do it again and again. And then I hope you reach out to me and just say, hey, Harry, why don't you put a different set of eyes on this? I love doing it. I love talking about it. And I love the fact that you're out there doing it. Best of luck, my friend.